In a small, forgotten village nestled between dense forests and mist-covered hills, there lived a young woman named Ilara. She was not of noble birth, nor did she possess great wealth, but what she lacked in material riches, she made up for in spirit. Ilara had a fire within her, a passion for life, for discovery, and above all, for love. It was this burning passion that would one day shape her destiny in a way she could never have imagined. Ilara spent her days tending to the simple tasks of village life. She gathered herbs from the forest, wove baskets from reeds, and mended clothes by the warmth of her hearth. Yet, despite her outwardly humble existence, there was something otherworldly about her. The villagers often whispered of the way the air seemed to shimmer around her, how her eyes gleamed like embers in the night, and how the very earth seemed to hum with life wherever she walked. Ilara had long felt a deep connection to the natural world, and she often found solace in the woods, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the wind carried stories from far-off lands. It was during one of these solitary walks that she first encountered the wand. It was an unassuming morning, the sky tinged with the soft hues of dawn. Ilara had ventured deeper into the forest than she usually dared, driven by a sense of purpose she couldn't quite name. As she wandered, she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in golden light. In the center of the clearing, half buried in the earth, was a wand, a single slender branch, smooth as silk and glowing faintly with an inner light. Ilara approached the wand with cautious curiosity. She could feel the energy radiating from it, a pulsating warmth that seemed to sync with the beat of her own heart. It was as if the wand was alive, calling out to her, resonating with the fire that burned within her soul. Without thinking, she reached out and grasped it. The moment her fingers wrapped around the wand, a surge of power shot through her. It was as if the energy of the universe itself had been channeled into her, filling her with a strength and purpose she had never known. In that instant, Ilara felt as if she could do anything, be anything. She was no longer just a simple village girl. She was a force of nature, a conduit for the raw, untamed energy of life itself. As she stood in the clearing, the wand held tightly in her hand, Ilara felt something else stir within her, an overwhelming, all-consuming love. But this was not the love she had read about in fairy tales, the love of a prince for his princess. No, this was a deeper, more primal love, a love for the world itself, for the beauty and pain, the joy and sorrow, the light and dark that made up the fabric of existence. It was a love that transcended the boundaries of the human heart, a love that burned like the sun and flowed like a river through her veins. Ilara knew then that the wand had chosen her, that it had awakened in her a power and a purpose beyond anything she could have imagined. She was not just a bearer of the wand, she was the wand, the living embodiment of its energy, its passion, its love. And with this realization came a sense of responsibility, a duty to use her newfound power for the good of the world. In the days that followed, Ilara found that she could no longer live the quiet, unremarkable life she had known. The fire within her demanded more. It demanded action, creation, change. She began to use her power to heal the sick, to bring life to barren fields, to inspire hope in the hearts of those who had long since given up. The villagers, once wary of her strange energy, began to look upon her with reverence, seeing in her the embodiment of something divine. But with great power came great temptation, and Ilara soon found herself facing the darker side of her abilities. The more she used the wand, the more she felt the pull of its energy, the seductive allure of absolute power. She began to understand why the wand had been buried in the forest, hidden away from those who might misuse it. The line between creation and destruction, love and obsession, was thinner than she had ever imagined, and it was a line she would have to walk carefully. One evening, as she sat by the hearth, staring into the flickering flames, Ilara felt a pang of loneliness. Despite all that she had accomplished, all the lives she had touched, there was a void within her that nothing seemed to fill. She realized then that while she had come to love the world in its entirety, she had lost something in the process, her own heart. Ilara had become so consumed by her mission, so driven by the power of the wand, that she had forgotten what it meant to truly love as a human being. She had forgotten the simple joys of companionship, the warmth of a shared smile, the comfort of a hand to hold. She had become the embodiment of the Ace of Wands, pure, fiery passion, boundless energy, unquenchable love. But in doing so, she had lost the one thing that made life worth living. Determined to reclaim her humanity, Ilara decided to leave the village and embark on a journey of self-discovery. She knew that the power of the wand would always be with her, but she needed to find a way to balance that power with the simple human love she so desperately craved. She needed to learn how to love not just the world, but herself. As she traveled, Ilara encountered many challenges. She faced her darkest fears, confronted the shadows of her past, and learned the true meaning of sacrifice. But through it all, she held on to the fire within her, the love that had first drawn her to the wand. And slowly, she began to understand that love was not just a feeling, but a choice to open her heart, to embrace the world in all its messy, imperfect beauty, and to accept herself, flaws and all. In time, Ilara found herself standing at the edge of the world, looking out over an endless sea of possibilities. She knew that she could do anything, be anything, but more importantly, she knew that she was enough just as she was. The fire within her still burned bright, but it was no longer a raging inferno. It was a steady, comforting warmth, a beacon of light in a dark world. And so, with the wand in her hand and love in her heart, Ilara stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face whatever the future might hold. She was no longer just a bearer of the wand. She was a woman in love with the world, with life, and with herself. And that, she realized, was the greatest power of all.